Hello, everybody. Sorry, I just went through a whole lot of options to try to come to this conclusion where, let's see, where I'm just gonna do a live stream of this. Wow. Anyways. Alright, so this is Bloodborne Musings, where I'm going to do the same thing that I did with Minecraft, only, oh, and there's Yarnam, with Bloodborne. And sorry, a little backup of what I was hemming and hawing about. Right there, I already see that I misspelled Yarn and then upload it later, or just wing it and do a live stream. So I went with wing it. Excuse me, I'm all coughing up and everything. But anyways, yeah, basically the idea of it is to make this. But yeah, I'm basically going to redo what I did with Borderlands 3 and Minecraft and just kind of do my musings while I do some gameplay. So I feel like that is really a potential for a style of lecturing and education, believe it or not. Plus, you combine a couple of the things you really like to do, make it more entertaining for everybody. So, anyways, let's see. So I'll probably start a whole new game. Yeah, start at the beginning, but yeah, and actually I had to have a piece of paper. Oh, jeez. Alright, anyways, so I hope this is actually having sound. I don't know. I can't get it to test, but anyways, so yeah, my musings, I'll be going over computer science stuff, cybersecurity stuff, social stuff, social engineering. And by all that, I mean a lot of the stuff that I was talking about over in the Minecraft musings that I'm also currently doing is all about, like, society control, religion, politics, and all that. But I do want to back up and, like, do, okay, so what's the point of learning computer science or tech? And that's actually, oh geez, forget which I heal. Anyways, the reason that I'm so infatuated with mixing computer science with just about everything else in the world, you know, specifically trying to do problem solving with society and problem solving with religion and problem solving with peace and, you know, all that stuff, is the basis of it is the computer science mindset, which is to problem solve in scalable ways. That way you address as many solutions, possibly all, if possible, but as many solutions possible to avoid hard coding or like solving one-off solutions, and also to have from having to go back and do it all over again. Like, that's the way you want to make it, or that's why you want to make it scalable in the first place. So you're not going back and being like, oh, I wrote this code, but it works for this, like, and that is what we call hard coding, is where you solve a problem in the most one-off way as possible. Like, say you wrote code to manage, let's say, an air conditioning unit. Okay, well, you know, what days do you want it to run on? You know, what you could do is just lump groups of days, or there's a number of ways to solve it, or every day have a program. But say you just, like, program on Monday, I want it to turn on at this time, you know, and it could be anything else, like, say, or if the temperature gets higher than this amount, turn on the air conditioner. I don't know. That would be like the scalable way to do it. But you could say, like, if the temperature reaches 70, turn on the air conditioner. If the temperature reaches 72, turn on the air conditioner. It's like, well, and clearly you would think that it would already be on because the temperature reached that, but say the temperature kept reaching, you know, or for whatever reason, it's just not that good. Like, it's better to think about it in a scalable way, to where if the temperature reaches this range, turn on the AC. If the temperature reaches this other side of the range, turn on the heater. You know, have a completely scalable solution for managing the temperature in your house. And that's what you'd want the code managing a thermostat to do. And I just brought that up because in some obscure place I did see that one of the practice things was like, program a thermostat. Although I like to start off with the old idea of grading an assignment in school. Like, that way you have grade ranges. You can actually lump conditionals together to where it's like, instead of making a range, if grade is between this and this, you could just say, if a grade is higher than this, which includes everything 90 and above. like totally scalable. I mean, and there might even be a better way to do it, but like, let's see, because when I answered my question for that, that was one of the things I just recently did in a class, was like, yeah, that guy's going to jump down. But while he does that, let's go ahead and handle this. Anyways, so it was actually a project. It was like, write code to handle this situation. So I was like, all right, if the grade is between 90 and 100, give it an A, you know, or return A. If the grade is between 80 and I thought I was all slick, and I did like if this and this, gave a lower and upper limit to the range, or needed to do is what I first said was like, okay, if the grade's higher than a 90, just give them an A. If it's 150, it's still an A. It doesn't matter how high you go with it. And that makes it scalable to any user input that's higher than a 90, including a 90. That's another thing is to like, oh gosh, this is dangerous. They're all going to start coming up. And if you fight them down there, you get the potential that they burn in the middle fire. So, yeah, which we'll go try to do that. Yeah, see, there's a bunch of them. But if you do this, work smarter, not harder, they run into the fire. Sometimes. Not all the time, but at least then you can start singling them out. Well, maybe. At least they're a little split up. And actually, it's usually these guys, I want to say, that do it. Oh, that was just trash. Let's see. Anyways, scalable solutions to your problem solving. Any problems. Like, you can address anything with that mindset. Is like, because again, nobody wants to do the same or very similar work later, you know, or what is it? Measure twice, cut once. So if you do it right the first time, oh geez. Sorry, I do need to focus a little bit here. Just a wee bit. But anyways, yeah, measure twice, cut once. Don't do the same job more than you have to. Work smarter, not harder. Any way that you want to, oh geez. Any way that you want to think of it. Pretty sure I'm poisoned again too. Yeah. It's very venomous. Or poisonous, whatever. They're very dead now, so that's alright. Anyways, so yeah, scalable solutions. That great example is just a great example because, you know, there's a way to solve all of it, and then there's an even better way to optimize it. And that's why I like pointing out both ways, because I originally thought I was so slick doing it that way. So anyways. And let's see. And how do I segue into this? The other thing that I've been relating to, like, society and the world today is common sense about capitalism. Now, this is a completely out there approach, but I think it really fits nicely with the whole scalable solutions versus hard coding one-off. And don't get me wrong, I will get back into code stuff, but I am kind of on this tangent for a bit. But so, capitalism with caps. I mean, we all agree capitalism has done some great things. America has a lot of great stuff, but we also have a lot of issues still. So, I mean, and that's a very brief and blunt way to kind of glaze over everything. But that's basically the gist of it. We have a lot of nice stuff, but we have a lot of pretty big problems. So, specifically, how expensive everything is. I think we are, you know, we have very expensive healthcare, and people hear, you know, oh, you got to spend $5,000 on an ambulance ride? That's unheard of, you know, people around the world. However, our medical care is top notch, and, you know, not saying that other countries aren't, but like, we pay good money for our doctors, and there is the crux of the problem. The amount of education that it takes to become a doctor is so expensive that in order to just even be successful, you have to guarantee certain salaries for the best doctors or the best medical professionals. So really at the crux of the healthcare problem is the education problem. Well, and if education's expensive, then you definitely have to have these like high-paying careers afterwards, or you have to have a lot of funding, or, you know, like a lot of work goes into making those doctors what they are. And that's if they succeed too. Like, think about all of the funds and costs and expenditures that get lost from someone who quits, drops out, whatever, or fails, or whatever the case may be. And often, a lot of times, they might fail because of lack of funding. They run out. So, anyways, that's my whole tirade of, if you made higher education free, everything else would become, or free or cheaper, then everything else becomes cheaper. Oh, I messed that up. Oh, we gotta heal. Ah, he still got one in. My turn. Nope. Anywho, so cheap or free education would actually reduce the cost of healthcare. And then one other thing that I like to bring up, law, legal advice. Your lawyer costs a lot of money, not because, you know, it's actually worth that amount of money to keep you out of jail or prison or get you a better deal or whatever. It's because they had to spend a lot of money in law school. They even had to go to school for an extra, whatever, 4 years it is, or they had to study for the bar. And how much does it cost every time they attempt to take the bar? And not just to pass it once. Say they don't pass it, how much is it to get it again? And so, anyways, I just like to highlight all of these costs because a lot of people don't realize that that's the cost of business. Well, those costs are incurred down the line to operating costs or the costs of your product, or, you know, someone's got to pay all that. And anyways, that's my whole tirade about capitalism with caps, like a proposed solution to hopefully bring down the costs of just about everything, you know, making education free or very cheap, or even just interest too, because that's another factor that people don't really think about, is that, you know, you've got all this interest on loans. So because of the high costs, or even partly because of it, people have to take out loans, and then they have to pay interest on those loans, making it even more expensive for everything else down the road. So yeah, scalable solutions. If you fix education, and that is a pretty generalized term, education. Well, we're getting so optimized with it, and that's the other thing that I'm like really optimistic about, is just how education has become, or has changed, is changing, and all of that. Like, and we especially kind of got a glimpse of it during COVID with the Zoom. Like, everything was online and remote. And now we're doing a lot of work remote because we realized, hey, you know, this, just like I like that saying, this could have been an email. It's like, well, this could have been done at home in my pajamas with my cat or my dog, or, you know, in my comfort and everything. I could have done this at home. And, you know, and in my job included, I love it. Like, most of the time I do still go into the office because I deal with hardware stuff, but if it can be done from home, yeah, I'll do it in my house. So anyways, and that's just one point of optimism, is just how that's changing, but also education. And sorry, back to the original thing. So kids today are learning much more in much shorter time, and not just kids, people too. Like, I'm going to go back and I'm going to make very short videos on all the stuff that I talk about in these things, because for the people that don't have time or the attention span to really, you know, sit and dedicate to a subject, they find the shortest, the one video on YouTube, the most concise, the one that has the most views generally is the shortest and to the point.
Welcome home, good. What is it you just...
But that's why these are musings, because they are as far from the point as you can get. But that way I don't miss anything too, because if you learn things like, yeah, you can learn A plus B, or, geez, that's how expensive levels are now. I'm going to have to do some grinding, which is good because I'm going to be doing some musing. But anyways, yeah, we'll get the, well, yeah, that increases the damage, strength, and everything. So yeah, and maybe one day I'll just go back and do like a playthrough and stuff. But really, Fighting Cowboy does like the best. If I really want to get some blood echoes, yeah, let's go here. No, that's just a terrible idea. Although I did just do that. Let's go Cathedral Ward. All right. Anyways, sorry. Yeah, Fighting Cowboy does an amazing playthrough. Well, he does Let's Play series and tutorials on like all of the Dark Souls games. This is made from FromSoft. It's one of the Dark Souls series, kind of, unofficially. But it is a Dark Souls game, basically. Just in jolly old England, or... yeah.
You. Stay away from me. I know.
Concerned if you're playing such a violent and gory game. But it's like... I don't know. At the end of the day, these are all video games. This is completely fake, and this guy is a pain. Nope, I don't even want to do it. Ah, he hurts so bad. Alright, that was lucky. Usually he kills me. And I don't know. Anyways, so yeah, check out Fighting Cowboy for that. For this, I'm just going to keep going over the ideas that I'm going to do for my shorter videos and musing. But anyways, capitalism with caps. That's the whole point of that, is like we could solve a lot of problems if we just, I don't know, made education cheaper or free. I mean, because at the same time, you also don't want to lose like the whole economies of teachers, educators, professors. Like they make good money to do that, and they need a facility to teach in. You know, they need the tools, they need the supplies and all that, like hiring TAs and all that. There's definitely money involved that you're just not going to get away from, like completely. But so my idea was more like, what if we made things more non-profit? Like, because actually the school I work for is non-profit. Like, you know, yet we all get paid at the end of the day. Like, oh geez. Ah. Oh yeah, this is just a bad idea. Oh, and there's a dog too. I forgot about that. Yeah, it's over there. Oh, he's got some reach. All right. Anyways. Okay. Do you not want the dog? I hate that shooter. Let's go take care of the shooter. All right. Anyways. Sorry. Done with you. All right. Because, yeah, by themselves, these guys really aren't that bad. Especially this big one. These attacks take a lot of energy. That's why you gotta time it. Anyways, so yeah, making businesses non-profit, you know, for the unalienable rights. And the reason I say that is if you're gonna sell an idea to like that to people, you know, especially politicians and stuff, you have to make it make sense. Otherwise, you're just some nutter, you know, like just saying random things like, oh, it should be like this way and in a perfect world, and then you start getting called a hippie or, you know, or whatever labels, you know. You got to be careful how you phrase it to where it benefits all parties or as many parties as possible. And that's kind of scalable in the way of a business sense. Like, if you're going to make an idea stick or be successful, you have to make it make sense. Oh, this could hurt. There we go. So, you know, and that's why I bring up, like, nonprofit. Like, you still want the people to have jobs, you know, stuff to go to. But then that brings into the question, why isn't everything nonprofit? Like, why have profit at all? Well, I mean, to a certain point, I believe it's... Well, actually, I don't even want to start making assumptions about that. Because at the end of the day, that's all it is. Wow, he came way over here. Get out of here. Alright. Yeah, usually he's back there. So, anyways, but just the idea of nonprofit, you still get to have the business, you still have customers, and you're just not paying maybe shareholders. And that's the other thing. I was like, I'm trying to find the corner cases and blind spots in my own logic. Like, why doesn't everybody just be nonprofit? Well, maybe because their funding was sourced like the stock market, something like that. You know, because like you kind of think, okay, well, they're paying their dividends to their stockholders, but why do they have stockholders to begin with? Well, maybe they needed startup and capital. And to be honest, I don't even really understand how all that works. I have a minor in business administration, and I still don't understand, like, as much as I would like to feel comfortable about the stock market. And to be honest, I don't even know if I want to know. I just really want to know it to either change it a little bit, manipulate it to where it actually would benefit the greater good, ban it, you know. Oh no, that's dead. Yeah, I forgot about those gunners up top. All right, so there's 17,000 blood echoes that we got to come back and get. That's all right, we're just grinding. So anyways, yeah, making it profitable, making it make sense. Actually, hold on a second. Oh, okay, cool. It is gone. All right, sorry, I just had to check. I've also been playing around with the idea of like recording offline. I think I mentioned that, which is all fine, except for then you got to upload it, and it takes forever, and so. Oh, that's a one-hitter now. Interesting. All right, well, I'm not messing with that guy. And I'll get the crow. Anyways, yeah. So I guess I would want to understand that a little more, just so I could even work on even these ideas, because there's probably a blind spot. Like, there's a reason more people haven't done this, and that's just not. Oh, jeez, these guys are bad too if you're not careful. Oh well. Still focusing more on what I'm trying to say, but anyways, oh. Could go the other way. I mean, that has some risk too. Oh well, we'll go the other way. We'll eventually make it there. I just didn't want to fight all of those people all at once. Like, that's a pretty brutal area. This isn't a much better. I mean, you get them one at a time. Gotta kind of adjust it, because... Yeah, that's just 2 hits now. That's nice. Anyway, sorry. For anyone who has played this game, you already know that it changes a lot, and then the amount of times you have to hit, like, your stats and everything greatly change your gameplay, make it a whole lot easier. And you get used to, like, oh, I need this many hits to kill this thing. You know, oh, this one takes this many. Oh, I better not try this one. All that good stuff. So, I've definitely played this a few times. Anyway, back to the musings. So, just trying to figure out the reasons why more people don't do that. And I think it really is, like, stock market, you know, how much interest is on money loaned for such things. You know, there's like all sorts of factors, because people outright aren't just like out there to be like, oh, I want to rip people off and make the most amount of money possible. Like, granted, they want to make the most money to be successful, but even at the expense of, like, and where I'm going with all that is, you hear it's good business a lot, yet there's usually someone that suffers. You know, it's not like all parties are made better by the deal. It's that, oh, well, these people really lose out. This people, you know, not so much. And then these people greatly benefit. Like, that's how I see a lot of quote-unquote good business. And it's concerning. So, anyways. And actually the whole point of trying to think of, you know, different solutions to prevent that. You know, one thing for politicians already, I can say, no more campaigning, no more going from city to city and wasting all of those resources just to talk to people when we have Zoom calls. Like, it could have been a Zoom call. And we found that out from the, you know, the pandemic. And of course, some of it's not the same, the people that really get into voting. But at the same time, are we really doing it out of, hold on, not that way yet. Out of entertainment? I wouldn't really think so. Actually, wait, where did I die? I was down an alleyway. This, no. Was it? It wasn't this way, but you can get there from this way. But yeah, you hear that little gurgling? That's a little squid monster right there that sucks up your insight. Oh, no, just like that. So I lose 1 insight, and it hurts. Super, oh, 2 insight. Super annoying. Because insight is like a currency. Yeah, sorry, I had to deal with that. Alright. Ooh, that's a good one. Anyways, yeah, you can't get insight back. Like, you can, there's only a finite amount of insight in the game, and you can use it to buy nice things. Yeah, let's go down here, because that is... Wait a minute. Oh, that's somewhere else. This is how we fight a whole lot of things. Oh, he glitched out there. Ah! Oh, no. Okay, this isn't looking good. Did they drop down? Yeah, see, they're not that bad if you don't have the shooters on you. This one's gonna come down, maybe. So anyways, yeah, banning money from campaigning instantly reduces how much lies and mistruths and misleading information that both sides of politicians have found themselves spewing. I mean, and I'm sorry, like, it's my opinion one side does it more than the other, but that doesn't matter. I've basically seen it from both sides, I feel like, and it's because it's a circus. It's this big game that we have going on. Or it's like, you got to buy your votes, you got to convince people, you got to scare the people, you got to make them like, you know, all the different social engineering tactics that politicians use to manipulate their voters. Oh, yeah, now we're doing it backwards. So where is this guy? This one. There's my blood echoes. Nice. All right. And he left something. And I'm intentionally not visiting the houses because I thought I saw somewhere that I needed to reach a certain point or beat a certain amount of bosses for part of the story. But anyways, I might cover that, might not. If you want to know more about that, go see Fighting Cowboys walk through a Bloodborne. He goes through all of it. So, and he does a much better job than I do. He's much better at this game. But anyways, so yeah. So Zoom calls remove the money from politics. That's also a lot of money that could be used for something else. I mean, literally anything else. Like, you got people spending, you know, untold amounts of money to try to influence politics and government. Like, you could just turn around and pay your taxes with that, or pay your employees more, or, you know, basically do any number of things that would essentially resolve a lot of issues. Oh, that's gonna hurt. Yep. Okay, there's one. Where's the shooter? Up there. Ah! I was gonna say, I don't even think I did not. Oh. Okay, sorry, I had to... Whew. Ah, I hate it. You hate to see it. I don't know why he's not shooting or attacking me. Oh, yeah, and you. Alright. Okay. Oh, whoops. Not what I wanted to do. That's why I usually... I was like caught between healing and picking up an item. One shot him. And then there's another person. Yep. That was risky. Anyways, yeah, so... and I feel like if you had Zoom town hall meetings, you could actually talk to the politician in a polite way. You don't want to be rude, because, I mean, there should be people getting kicked out, and it would be rough for a while, because politics have become so ugly that there would be a learning curve or a time of testing where we would have to try to be very patient with it. There's a lot of people angry that really shouldn't be. I mean, and if you get right down to it, like... I don't know, I've just had a lot of talks with my friends from opposing political views. I did not get there. Anyways. Whew. Sometimes you can still get your health back if you attack them, even if they're, dead. Oh, I thought I would have hit it, at least hit him too. Also, that's frenzy that's building up. These guys are so... crazy that they actually induce psychosis. Anyways, which it makes you end up hurting yourself. So, in a nutshell. Alright, so, little backstory. That's a boss. I don't really feel like fighting the boss right now, especially with almost 30,000 blood echoes. That is where you fight a couple of other hunters. That's not too fun right now. Basically like a mini boss. And this, ooh, this could be painful. However, so if you go this way, you go through a bunch of hunters and dogs, but you do get to a warp point. But it's a lot of blood echoes that I'm trying to level up. So we'll just keep grinding. Anyway, yeah, I think that would do a lot. And anything you can do in a rally or a campaigning stop, you can do with a Zoom call. And as more people get more used to working remotely, campaigning is definitely something that should be done remotely. Plus, it's safer too. Like, you know how much resources or how many resources are wasted on just protecting a potential candidate? And then, you know, and who's to say like what the value is? Like, how valuable is this politician's life versus another one? And the reason I bring that up is because I actually do have okay, wait, let me survive first. Yeah, this is a tricky area. Okay, where's him? There, I see him. Actually, I'll kill you first. Yep. I even watched him, too. That's the most annoying point. Serpentine. You gotta have serpentine with him. Okay. Anyways, where was I going with that? Oh, yeah, Zoom town halls. Oh, sorry, no, the story. There we go. I came in, and it was around the time that I believe it was Obama that was campaigning here. And he was explaining to me, oh, jeez. I realized a little too late. This is where it gets really dicey. All right, but anyways, point of that is he said, I work for the government, I work for the president, I actually hide out and listen to people talk about if they're going to try to do harm to the president, and then I arrest them. And I was like, wow, that's a pretty horrible job. I mean, it's horrible that it has to happen, sure, but also, like, if somebody just says that they're, you know, and the way he made it sound, maybe he just didn't explain it well enough. It was like, it was almost like a secret police. Like, you know, you talk about, like, you know, Russia or these other places that are supposedly have these like human rights. I'm gonna try to get one, and then you gotta go. You can easily die in that. Right like that. Oh, and it's because I tried to jump in that roll. Anyways, the point is the guy sounded really sketchy, and it's something that you think you'd only hear about, like, in Russia, like, the way we make things sound, like, most of Russia is so horrible with rights violations, and then we got this guy, as I'm making him a sandwich, he's like, oh yeah, I just arrest people for speaking about doing something bad to the president. Like, okay, like, hopefully there's a little more to that. You don't just arrest anybody and everybody. And I guess I should back up. The way that he made it sound, it was like, oh, also, I do a light pack. Over by Charwood. It was another spot. I'm gonna just warp there and try to go get my blood echoes. But anyways, this guy made it sound like he was excited about it. You know, like, you know, I'm actually a Republican, but, you know, I'm very excited about this job, and I enjoy locking people up or something like that. He didn't say that, but it was like, he said something very similar to it, and I was like, oh, that's kind of, you know, it's kind of a prick move of you, but whatever. And I think I even said to that, I was like, oh, that's messed up, but yeah, you know, here's your sandwich. Because when you're in a subway all late and some guy comes in and starts talking about how he likes to arrest people for talking, like, he's just like, oh, no, you know. But anyways, that's why I thought that was significant. But that's just one aspect of it. So the safety of the politician, you know, the safety of the people. Like, you know, there's that famous point about how, I do not want to die again, though. I do want to get those blood echoes back. That was a lot of blood echoes. But anyways, yeah, like, I remember there was a Trump rally where he was like, go ahead, punch him. Like, I'll pay your legal fees or something. And it's like, why would you want to go to a place where someone might physically assault you just for their political beliefs? Like, that doesn't sound fun at all. Like, that's actually why I don't go out, like, you know, protesting all that much, or ever, really. Because it's like, yeah, I believe in it, and I will do what I can for it, but you don't want to, I'm not going to be caught out there in a dangerous situation for it. Like, that just causes more problems than it solves, I feel like. Unless it was for something serious, like, you know, actual human rights violations. I might protest something like that, but it's like, I don't know. Anyways, it's just, we need to get our priorities in order and manage our expectations. is basically, oh yeah, those are the fire explosives. Anyways, in a nutshell, but you say something like that, and then it either gets lost in translation or it becomes too muddied where it just doesn't end up becoming solved. And by that I mean phrasing is important. The way we communicate is vital for success, because if you can communicate it to where a 5-year-old can understand and do it, then that means people with English as a second language that speak at like a 5 or 10-year-old level. Sorry, hold on. And not saying that people that don't speak English are a 5-year-old level. That's not what I'm saying. If anything, oh gosh, they are much higher because they're actually speaking a second language. No! Run, run. No. I'm not going out like that. Okay. Anyways, oh, they still got me from all the way over there. I am not going down again. Alright. And as you can see, I have plenty of blood vials, so I can heal. It's just, you get into the moment, and then you kind of forget, and that's the whole point of these Dark Souls games, is they get you like that. Anyways, so, I can keep gathering stuff. I can even go back that way. Maybe I should. Ah! Alright, no. You. Sounded like a crow. Interesting. Anyways. So yeah, so just thinking about the resources saved from banning money from campaigning, banning lobbying, all of that stuff. And I get it to a point that, especially back in the day, when this country was still pretty young, maybe we did need industries lobbying for what was the best interest of the industry. But even as I say that, the industry can be thriving along with its workers, its employees. Like, there's no reason it can't. And if it's thriving on doing quote-unquote good business that's still putting people at a disadvantage, then is it really thriving? There's that kind of whole question. And we've had this, massive runaway profits from companies just making a killing, making so much money. And, maybe if there's time, they'll go back and they'll help their workers. Okay, this is going to be tough. Okay. These guys are just a little less predictable with their attack sets. And, they don't stagger like normal ones, so it's you gotta, get them all in. And then there's that big guy. But at least this way we can actually, take care of them one by one. Alright, so yeah, so the money saved from all that, I don't know, there's still something to be said about, well, if you elect the right politician, then they're going to have the best interests at heart that benefit the country as a whole, and not just focus on the managers, the owners, and the stockholders. They're going to focus on everyone. And then you start sounding like, oh, that's communism or something, for the best good. And, oh, geez, that's going to... And it's no, you don't gotta slap some label on it, whether it's true or not. You're pigeonholing it into oh, it's communism, it can't be good, or oh, it's socialism, it can't be good. It's who cares about what ism it is? The whole point of our government is to be as dynamic as possible, so where if it ever becomes corrupted, we have the checks and balances to correct it. At least that's how I understood it, and I did take a couple government classes. Granted, I didn't really do so great in them, but, I was busier doing computer sciencey classes. But at the same time, even from the School Rock Kids days, we were all taught how the government is supposed to work. And then a lot of times we get confused, not because we don't understand it, it's because it doesn't really seem like it works like there's, as advertised. Yeah, that's a great story, tell me another. Because that's not how it is. So, oh geez, he's right there. It's I know you're here. Alright. So, and just fixing that, I believe, would fix a lot of problems. Like, we're talking people's health. Well, how so? Well, the number one cause of death in America is heart problems, or heart attack, or heart failure, heart issues. Well, stress and heart problems are directly related in many cases. And cholesterol. Actually, I'm not even going down there. Squidly can nut today. Let's go spend these souls, or these blood echoes. Sorry, in other Dark Souls games, it's souls is the currency that... Yeah, we'll get this guy. The fire looks bad, but it's not. Okay. Anyways, yeah, so just scalable solutions to problems. Well, if you're going to fix one problem, why don't you fix like 2 or 3 while you're at it? You know, that's what's taught in computer science. That's what, I mean, because programming, you think having one bug in one program is bad. Imagine never thinking in scalable ways and always just hard coding one solution at a time. Nobody would ever be successful like that. You cannot be successful in tech if you do hard-coded solutions to everything. Like that's big one freshman stuff. Use the scalable mindset. And so everybody should. You know, everybody should take that mentality into their respected field. I don't care what it is. You know, you're in fast food. Make it scalable. How do you solve as many problems with as few solutions to just save everybody time and headache and make it efficient? So, anyways, I digress a lot, as you know. But here's the lantern. Alright. So yeah, if we ban money from campaigning, just banned it, made it illegal. I mean, there's no reason. We could even test it, try it for, I'd say 3 years. We got to give it some time to actually like try it, or to at least 2 years, and then just see how it goes. You know, and that goes for TV commercials too. I'm sorry, I know it's some people's income, but I think we can all agree that TV political ads are the worst. They're just horrible. Because like even if you weren't thinking about the issues, it's like, hey, guess what? Now you're thinking about the issues, and now you're gonna get angry, maybe scared, you know. And all you were trying to do was watch some entertainment. Nah, get out of here with that. Like, it's just horrible. I mean, so, all right. So, anyways, get money out of campaigning. Make education more affordable, and I think we're already actually doing a good job about that. We have so many tools, like even in the classroom. Like if we had computers back in my day, I mean we did. By the time I was in high school, we did have computer labs. We had computer labs, I think, even when I was in elementary school. But it was like a place where you actually had to like get up and take the whole class over there. And we had Oregon Trail, and we actually had the floppy disks. Not even the little like hard compact save icon, but we actually had floppy disks. Like, so let's keep yeah, let's just go through all of Yarnam. Let's see how many blood echoes we can get. But anyways, and then maybe I'll wrap this up because these really shouldn't be too long, and I got some other stuff I need to do. But yeah, just wanted to kind of do a little intro, start doing some Bloodborne musings, and eventually I'm going to go back and do what I did for Borderlands 3 and just do the whole game, but talk computer science. And I promise I will stick to computer science in those. I'll like actually like label them and do all that. But yeah, and these are going to be a lot of one-hitters too, because this is like the beginning area. Actually, might not even be worth it. Like less than 50. It takes 1 hit, maybe 2 for shields. I don't know. So, but anyways, yeah, 2 hits. Oh. Yeah, we're really not getting a lot of blood echoes though. This guy will, but he's kind of a pain. I mean, I was pretty sloppy fighting on my part, and I still got him. Yeah, 340. It's worth about 6 of those guys out there. 7 maybe. Yeah, that's not good. Back to Charnel Lane, I guess. Alright. Oh, well, no, let's take a tour. Let's show you around. If you've never played Bloodborne, this is Central Yarnam. Oops. That's why I keep the rocks there, so I don't accidentally do something. Let's see. Love this game because, like, it's... I mean, obviously, yeah, that, but, like, look at the views. All Dark Souls games have these, like, magnificent views. And this one being, like, you know, like, supposed to be London or England or very European, you know, maybe even some Transylvanian, but they all speak, like, kind of British accent. That's why I say, you know, London or something. But you know, this is like Charles Dickens brought to life in a nightmare, like a nightmare realm. And that's why I love this game so much, is because, like, you're killing monsters and beasts, but you're, like, fighting your nightmares, too. Like, if you've ever had a bad game where it's, like, you know, you're being chased by a werewolf or some creature, or, like, ogre, or, like, all these things, and you're just in here just messing them up. Like, oh. And there is kind of a sick carnal pleasure to it, but, yeah. Let's see. Oh, yeah, we're still going. And the lore, the story. Oh, my gosh. It's like, you get to know these people.
Don't you worry about me.
Oh, yeah, that's right. That's all he says now. And, okay, I say London and all that, but then you get someone that sounds like maybe Scottish, Irish. Like, okay. But let's be honest. You hear a lot more of the mixture of accents over there. So, forgive me. A lot of it's like, yeah, cursed beast. Like, very proper and prim. Like, very British or, you know. Plus, like, look at this. This is, like, Victorian style. Like, you know, you get your study. There's Sneaky Pete. Anyways. And they're all, like, talking to themselves. Gone mad. Oh, he got me. And see, I healed all the way, even though he was dead. So. And you can also cheese these werewolves. Whee! Wait for him to come on down. I'm gonna go. What? And then just cheesing him. Oh, you're so mad. Granted, we could also just go fight him too. Wait for him to attack. Then go boom. So, but when you're first starting out, oh yeah, every now and then you do a gesture when you push buttons too fast. But when you're first starting out, this is a very good trick to know, because you do not want to fight these things until you have quite a few levels, quite a few stats put up in your strength, your health, everything. So, anyways. Yeah. Oh, pigeonholing. So we're talking about, like, ways that a computer science education really teaches you to be better in all aspects of life, be able to solve problems in all areas of your life. Well, pigeonholing, that's another concept where it's like, before computer science, I had no idea what that was. And the idea is you can have one pigeon per hole is where the term comes from. Back when people used to keep pigeons, I guess, actually, wait. Or I could just do a one-shot. Wow. Doing that a one-shot, that's pretty impressive. But anyways, the idea is, like, you have just enough, or back with people, when people kept pigeons, they would put the pigeons in pigeon holes, or like little cubbies, and there was one pigeon per hole. Well, now, when you think about it in computer science, you're thinking, like, in terms of, is every condition going to be satisfied? I'm trying to think of, like, a good specific example, but, like, I mean, the thing that keeps coming to mind that I remember from school was something about birthdays, and it was like probability. If you're trying to guess how many people had a birthday in January, well, you've got like a 1 in 12 chance that, you know, their birthday's in January. You've got so many people, and so you can kind of get like a raw probability, or like a very basic or rough probability. I know those aren't actual terms, but like you can get a rough idea, or a basic, like, first draft edit type of idea or probability. And so with pigeonholing, you know, you're saying, okay, well, then there's 12 possibilities and no more. Like, then it's repeating. You also have 30 or, you know, 29, 30, or 31 days in that month, or spaces where there could be a possibility, or a pigeonhole for a pigeon. These ones have such good reach. but this is also the first area, so it's really not that bad. And this is definitely not how I would go about it my first or even my fifth or sixth time through. But we've already been playing at much higher levels, so it's not that bad. Still could die though, as I just noticed. And I've been humbled like that before with this game. Like, you get too confident, too cocky, you're just going through, like, killing everything. Then it's like, boom, they surround you. One of the tricks ends up working, even though they deal hardly any damage to you, and you've got such high hit points. Oh, yeah, anyways. And all the different factors that go into it. But, yeah, so pigeonholing it's really closely related to, like, number theory, probability, stuff like that. Because it's just something to think about. Like, you have so many possibilities in a month, so many possibilities in a year, and just be mindful of all that. So, I'm surprised that other guy didn't. I guess he's a little further down. You can see him from this side. Oh, and then this guy wakes up if you go the wrong way. Usually this guy's sleeping. Okay, I one-shot him with the weak attack. All right. And there's also, sorry to explain that, there's your normal attack, then there's your strong attack. And you can even charge up your strong attack. You get that thing. And that's like the best thing to do if you have the time. I mean, that would one-shot him even before when we're just here. Anyways, for the first few times. So, yeah, and just the concept of pigeonholing, the way that I've been using it in like computer science and stuff, is pigeonholing is using labels poorly or improperly to pigeonhole someone into that designated space just for that. So my example was felon, but there's also, alcoholic, criminal, or your religion. Like, if you just say you subscribe to a certain religion, a lot of people will automatically pigeonhole you into what they. Wow, this guy just did not care. Just like, I'm out. So, anyways. Wait, did we? Oh, that's right. We did that. Triggered them. They went up there. So they were on that routine or something. And then we were here earlier. But they were up there. Anyway, sorry. So that means we already did come through, kill them. Yeah, it's time to... on to bigger, better things to get more bloods. In that sense is wrong, because not only is it's just inefficient at the end of the day, like, for all those involved. I mean, that person, if they were just empowered and told, oh, you're this now, but you could be this later, like, that saves so much time and effort for everyone. And plus, it gives them hope. I mean, and really, in this day and age, anyone can come back from just about anything. That's not saying go out and do something bad. It's like, never give up hope. It's supposed to be the positive aspect, which unfortunately is also, like, you could do something like kill somebody, and yeah, you'll probably spend a lot of time, if not your entire life, in bars. Or yeah, so just don't do it. In that aspect, yeah, prison is still useful, and yeah, we need to keep violent people, at least teach them good lessons. I don't know. That's a whole nother can of worms. but basically, optimizing humanity and optimizing society. You could think of it that way.
What is it you did? Very well. Let me.
And again, that's actually a scalable solution to cybersecurity. And I know I make that leap quite a bit. I hopscotch that quite a bit. Where it's like, okay, is this really tech? Is this really cybersecurity? Well, yeah, it is, because if you study cybersecurity, one of the first things you learn is there's a thing called social engineering. Well, that is the term resigned to manipulating someone's emotions or someone's judgment or the human aspect. A great example of that I saw in a video is like this lady was, or this white hat hacker. Let's not generalize, but yeah, she was she pulled up a recording of a baby crying, and she played it while contacting customer service of an internet company. And she got a password. Now, she didn't just get it right away. She had to do a lot of work to get it. But at the end of the day, she was such a good actor and played on so many of the emotions. And granted, anybody who saw that would be like, oh, we got to make stricter policy or this and that. But honestly, you're talking to a human at the other end. So if you can manipulate their emotions, you can hack them. Or you can hack the system using them as a weak spot, whether they know it or not. I mean, the same with a phishing email. Like usually human error is the biggest risk factor in cybersecurity. That's just, I mean, I can write some viruses, I can do all this, but I need some way for somebody to get that into these systems that are so secure, and that's usually a human element. So it doesn't matter how good your virus is if it never makes it onto the computer, that kind of thing. Versus, well, and also the people that are able to do such a thing are so limited. Like that level of skill now, and not saying it doesn't happen, but you're dealing with like more of like a state actor, or like an experienced hacker, or someone who's really out to steal money or really skilled. Like this isn't your average script kiddie or low level hacker. Like, anyways, I digress. The thing is that low level hackers are actually the majority of hackers, and people not even really hacking, just manipulating people, is social engineering. Like, oh, click this link, see who died. That's one of the big ones I've seen lately with Facebook. And actually, I know someone I almost fell for it. I opened the link and I was like, oh no. And it took me to a login page where I was supposed to enter my Facebook password and username. And don't worry, I was already kicking myself because I was like, I clicked a link. Like, that's one thing I tell everybody not to do. I clicked a link. And so I was like, okay, well, what really happened? Well, it took me to a page. It wanted me to log in with my credentials. And I was like, oh. And I did a virus scan, didn't find any malware or anything, didn't download anything. There was no download. So it's like, maybe I just got off the hook that time. Granted, I still want to look a little deeper just to make sure for sure, because I've been wrong before. But I also use fresh, clean systems quite often now. So even if there's something on there, good job. You'll be gone in like a month or two. So anyways, and that's just saying that. Don't try to hack my stuff. I'm not saying that. I'm not putting a bug bounty on myself. I don't want to do the work. And that's why I think of these scalable solutions. So like, wait, how do we solve these problems where, okay, we've got someone trying to scam. Oh yeah, that's right. You don't want to go that way. You want to go. I was about to say, you also don't want to heal like that. Oh, whoops. Completely missed. This is the wrong way. Alright, sorry, I had to focus a little bit. Yeah, so one way to solve the problem is to block every single attack, every single cyber or security threat one at a time. You can hard code and say, okay, I'm going to protect against a scam caller. Okay, you deploy a blue team setup, or you do some blue teaming, you make your system more robust, you put up security measures, or you could fix it to where that person doesn't feel the need to try to get gift cards from you. Nope, I don't want to fight the squid. But that is kind of where we're going, huh? All right. No, actually, you know what? No, we're going the other way. That's right, I remembered. It's this way with the flamethrower dude. Then you go down there, and then it's the alleyway, and then you go the back way of that, and then you can actually cheese the squid dude. You don't have to risk losing your insight. Also, this guy annoys me more than the crow. The crow, not so bad. I mean, it's still annoying. Alright. Anyways, so there's a thought. You could solve the problem one by one, piece by piece, or you could fix it to where that scammer doesn't feel the need to get a gift card. If they had enough money from a legitimate job that was actually respectable or whatever, or their government didn't take advantage of them to the point where they could have any job and be comfortable, or, there's many moving parts. There's that guy. So, there's a lot of different areas that can pay attention, rinse, repeat. There we go. And I don't know the range. Okay, there we go. So anyways, so that's why it's worth it to try to solve all the world's problems, because it's all going to come back. We're all a connected world. Like, this world has definitely gotten a lot smaller. I thought there was a guy closer. Anyways, gotta be kind of careful here because there's a lot of people. And no. Okay, whew. So then you start getting into like, well, where do I stop? Well, why do you need to stop? You know, just keep solving problems. There he is. I was going to say, I thought there was one more shooting. Anyways, now, old Squidly McBean comes on out. And you can cheese him. Come on. You know you want to come over here. Boom. Alright. Now, let's see. Like, I know there's a ladder here, but I'm trying to remember. I don't think you can actually go back that way. But it's okay, because I think we killed everything else in this area, so we can go anyway. But, anyways, yeah. So then we get into the point of, like, alright, well, let's just solve all the problems. And one by one, you know, as you start solving problems, you start noticing, oh, other problems are becoming solved, or the idea of problem solving in such a way is becoming transmissible or viral, or it's becoming trendy or popular. You know, however you want to phrase it. Oh, we did not kill them. We did not this time. And there's a dog. I just hate them because they're so fast. Oh. I just got to remember to drink water when you're talking for so long. Or maybe that's my cue to go get some chores done. And then maybe come back to another episode of some Bloodborne Musings. This is fun. I mean, I do want to take on that boss somewhat soon because we're just running through all of these enemies. Oh yeah, we started to and we didn't finish. I do that a lot. I was gonna say, I think one of those that shooter. Yeah. And he's a pain. Oh, and that range too. Jeez. That was very lucky. I should not have survived that. But anyways, yeah, this is fun, but I do need to move on to the next area otherwise, because like this is just going to be repetitive, and at some point it does kind of lose its fun. Like it's fun, I don't know. Maybe I just start from the beginning and show you like the whole game while I talk about this, because like I've already been through here. This isn't the first time, and this is definitely not the first time I've ever done it, but this is not the first time I've done it with this character. It's probably not even, I mean, I've probably been here like 10 times. It's very expensive to get things in Bloodborne or any Dark Souls game. That's the point. You know, it's a very trying your patience, like, you know, how much are you willing to go through to get to the next step, or like, and you got to get good. Like, as it is a very unforgiving game. All of them are very unforgiving. You know, even, was it Sekiro? Shadows Die Twice is even another one. Yeah. Actually, yeah, this is probably good. Where are we at here? Oh yeah, right around an hour. That's good. So that's good for the first Bloodborne Musings. And maybe I'll get into more actual tech concepts next time, but that's kind of an explanation of why I've been going off on these tangents. It is by design. Like, it's not just some random crazy... And I'm hesitant to say crazy person because I'm trying to not even use that label, because it's like people experiencing, you know, a period of mental illness are doing just that. Like, just because someone's having a rough time does not mean that they're, like, forever completely having mental issues. And sorry, that was another example. I talked about, you know, when it comes to crime, you know, people who commit crimes, a lot of times the only reason that one of the main reasons that they continue to commit crimes might be because they've been pigeonholed into this idea that all they do is commit crimes. Well, if it looks like a duck, sounds like a duck, well, it goes the other way too. If that's all you're ever gonna tell them they can be, then that's all they're gonna, you know, at some point they're gonna believe it, and that's all they're gonna aspire to. And that's even not completely true. I feel like nowadays there's good enough communication and everybody's kind of already aware that, yeah, if you commit a crime, it's bad, but there's coming back from it. Like, same if you have like a horrible drug addiction or alcoholism or, there's always a coming back. You can come back unless you're dead or unless you killed somebody and you're in prison, which in a lot of states is actually synonymous with death because they actually have the death penalty. So don't kill somebody. I mean, and it sounds so simple and straightforward, but you get adolescents going through their hormone years and your prefrontal cortex isn't fully developed until your mid to late 20s, and we consider adults to be 18, and then they can go and do like, I don't know. A lot of my things kind of contradict because it's not an overnight change. You would have to, say, raise the age to be an adult, or maybe make alcohol not so common so you wouldn't have to worry about it as much, all those problems. Or then you talk about sex work, what constitutes someone who can consent to sex. And then, 18 still seems like a little young, like, especially now that I'm older. Like, when I was that age, sure, like, it would seem more normal. But, like, now, I go walking around on a college campus and I feel like these are all just little kids. Like, I could have kids this age, so it's kind of lost its appeal in that aspect. But, but who am I to judge with that? Because when I was 18, I wouldn't want someone saying I couldn't have sex with another 18-year-old. Like, that would just be ridiculous. Like, I don't even know. But anyway, sorry, I digress with that. That's more personal opinions, and it's tricky because you have all these things that we kind of know, or even like, we can start to draw these parallels. Like, okay, the prefrontal cortex doesn't, and I don't know, I could even be saying that wrong. It could just be the frontal cortex or the precortex, or I could just be making that up. It was a long time ago. I took some psychology classes. I'm familiar with rehab education. Like, yeah, and that's actually where it's mostly learned is rehab, is, people learn that it's not completely your fault. You just can't make good decisions until your mid to late 20s. Granted, if you continue to make these decisions, then that's where it's a problem. Either way, if you've gotten to the point where you're in a rehab, that means that there was a problem. I've heard about functioning users, and to me, I don't know. For most of it, I don't think you're really functioning, but at the same time, I don't think you're condemned for life either. I mean, again, once you get older, you grow up, you mature, and things start being less important. Like, yeah, gangs, drugs, alcohol. Alcohol, unfortunately, kind of sticks with you a lot. Oh, you hear that? That's the guy walking. A big old beastie right there. Anyways, death is permanent, though, and that's why it's so important to realize that, we got to end war and not just sound like a hippie. We really got to stop killing people in real life. I know I'm playing a game where I'm killing tons of things. This is all fake. This is fantasy. This is not what I get up and I go do. Ever. I would never do any of this. I mean, unless there was monsters like this, okay, maybe. But, like, I don't know. That's a whole nother video. Violence, like actual violence versus simulated violence, and knowing the difference. Actually, we do have... Well, let me take you over here real quick then. And then I'll stop and go do other stuff. But, so I do have quite a few things I need to do. But anyways, just remember this area, and this will probably get a decent amount of souls, or blood echoes. Also, you got to be careful. There we go. Okay. Actually, that was like the rest of my thoughts. I just wanted to come finish this area. Ah! They are much stronger, as you can see. Like, that guy almost got me. There's a bunch in here. Hello. You gotta be careful because you could roll right off the edge. Yeah. So anyways, yeah, let's actually get back onto the whole, scalable solutions for bringing peace worldwide. Are these really, like, I don't want to say illusions of grandeur because that's kind of a little offensive too, as far as mental health and everything. But basically, oh, watch this guy. Okay. But it is possible, especially in this day and age. If you get the right thing to go viral, like the whole pay it forward concept was brilliant, but never really made it anywhere. And, and there's a few theories as to why that was. Yeah. Oh, gotta roll away. But anyways, so yeah, Pay It Forward. It was a great movie, but, I think the main reason... I was trying not to hit that. Okay, still land on the thing. But anyways, yeah, I think the main reason that actually didn't go anywhere was because a lot of people don't understand when they're satisfied. And by that, I mean, I believe in the Maslow's hierarchy of needs. And basically that's where, we worry about our id and our ego and our basic necessities, our needs first, which makes sense, and then we end up with a charitable mindset of helping others and giving to others. But we don't reach that point until we feel satisfied with what we have, our own self, and our basic needs being met. And it makes sense when you look at, a lot of times people that are doing charity and donations, they're often either, like super wealthy or, and older to where they've lived long enough to accrue such wealth, or they've worked long enough and all that stuff. What is this? I haven't seen this in a while, if not ever. Huh. I also wonder what was, because I got the DLC, but it was weird. Because I didn't actually get it for a while, or it was like glitched out, or how I did it, or I don't know. It didn't seem like I actually got it when I got it, but then now I've like started noticing some other things, so that could be an expansion thing. I don't know. Or maybe I just haven't seen it, but I've watched, oh gosh. Alright, I was going to say, another one comes rolling out with a flamethrower. Alright. Anyways, so, dang it, what was I just talking about? Oh yeah, scalable solutions of bringing world peace. So with communication, and I know I've talked about this in my other video, or in my Minecraft musings, like one of the best classes I ever had was communication technology. And even though I thought it was hokey, yeah, that's right, it's locked. You can break all these. You can roll in Dark Souls games. Alright, sorry. Little distraction. There we go. Oh, geez. No, not doing it. Anyways. So, in this day and age, we have such great communication technology that if you come up with a good idea, or a tweet worth 1,000 words, per se, or something, or a pay-it-forward moment, then it could spread. But you also need to disarm the part where people think that they don't have enough resources to where they can become charitable, or they become too clenching of the purse, or so to say. And actually, a lot of times it's true. We don't really have the money to spare. I mean, sometimes, yeah, I will like forego some pleasantry or something and be like, okay, today I could donate like $5. That's a cup of coffee. I just won't drink coffee today. Or, and again, even our things like coffee consumption to third world countries, worrying about first world problems, like, oh, I have to forego a Starbucks today. Granted, yeah, that sounds very vain and just ridiculous. And people that don't even have basic needs met or listening to that be like, wait, you're worried about a coffee. I get it. But to live in that first world, you have to deal with all the nonsense, pay all the medical bills, go to work 40 hours a week, buy insurance. Oh, and that's another thing. I started looking at insurance again. Granted, I like the guy that sells our insurance, but like renter's insurance, so in case like someone in my building is, lights a fire and the whole building burns down, am I going to be without all of my possessions? And I actually lived in a complex where a pipe burst because someone didn't realize that in Colorado, you have to keep your heat on at least 60, especially if you're going to be gone, because otherwise your pipes could freeze and burst and flood. And so I came back from spring break, or no, winter break. It wasn't spring break. Obviously, the frozen pipes. We're not that cold here. But anyways, I came back and some pipes had burst and my apartment had damage. I did everything right. I left the sink dripping. I turned the heat on to 65, I think. I was even a little more paranoid. and you open up your cabinets where the pipes are so that, you know, you get the air and the warmer air circulating in there. And just the things that every Coloradan should know, or anyone that lives in a colder climate. So anyways, renter's insurance, because you can't even be sure. Oh, actually, yeah, this is a good rant. Let's just go back through old Yarnam. But anyways, insurance. That's another industry that it's great to have, and it makes sense. And to a certain point, I'm all for it, except for when it gets ridiculously out of control. And by that I mean, okay, so I'm not proud to admit it, but I did watch quite a bit of Gilmore Girls with one of my exes. And in that story, the family that's all super wealthy is wealthy because her dad was an insurance salesman. Basically, he worked in insurance, and he made all this money, this wealth, off of people being paranoid about losing everything in a horrible accident. And now, how often does a horrible accident happen? Not that much anymore. However, it can still happen. And luckily, like, I didn't get any stuff ruined when I had that flooding in my apartment, but say I did, I would theoretically get all that stuff back, and then that, I say theoretically, and probably doing some air quotes and stuff, because at the same time, insurance is so messed up that, in fact, the Incredibles does a great job about this. That's what the dad's job in that is he works for an insurance company, but he's a superhero. He's trying to protect people, and he's like, this is messed up, so I'm going to tell them all the insurance loopholes and, you know, do really horrible at my job, but at the same time do really good at protecting people. That's pretty much white hat. I mean, that's what white hat is being a Jedi, being a superhero, being someone who protects everyone. Now, gray hat, a lot of people say they're gray hat because maybe they don't agree with certain laws and stuff, and I get that to a point. I really do. I still consider myself white hat because I live in Colorado, and I do agree by most of our laws. Most. But I don't disagree with them enough to actually do anything against them, like break them or something, or even bend them. You know, and that's all hacking is bending the rules, finding ways around, manipulating systems. Yeah, it's just, you're not just a hacker because you took over a computer. You're a hacker if you're manipulating any systems, human or technical. Like, technically it's supposed to be technical, but I mean, social engineering. You're not manipulating, well, actually, no, I guess I take that back. You are manipulating the system overall by exploiting a human weakness. So, anyways, back to insurance. It's a really evil industry. Now, whether it's evil for a good reason or a bad reason, I don't know, and honestly, I don't care to a point. I mean, I say that just because I want to sound like, oh yeah, but really we need to analyze the underlying problems of why is insurance so expensive? Well, the few times that an accident does happen, it's very expensive. Like if a house burns down, yeah, that's a whole house. And the way they throw out these insurance numbers, you know, also part of the sales experience is you got to inspire fear into someone, but also their greed. So you're playing on their greed, and that, oh, this insurance covers you up to, like, you know, $50,000. And you're like, wait a minute, $50,000? Anytime we hear that, we're like, oh, it's like you're giving me $50,000. Or if I somehow lose this, like, unlucky lottery, you'll just give me $50,000. Well, no. And obviously we don't really think like that, but our initial impulse is to be like, wow, 50,000, that's a lot. It's like I have it right here. I mean, that's what you're thinking about it. And so, and that's just part of it. Same with, like, I don't know. Whether that's an intended or unintended consequence, it's there. You know? So it's, yeah. Anyways, I digress. But then, if they even pay it out, is a whole nother story, because they're going to try not to. They're going to try to find every loophole to rob you of what you've been paying into that whole time. And that's where I say good business is not always good business. In fact, most of the time, it's horrible business and horrible ethically. Although, I did have to take a business ethics class for my business minor, and for good reason. You know, they really are trying to tell everybody this, be like, you know, well, first off, here's the business law. And then here's what to consider when dealing with business ethics. So, yeah, because even that's like two separate concepts. Like, you could have good ethics and have a horrible business, or vice versa. You can have a great business, or, you know, have sweatshops, or falsely And I don't know, the gray area is so gray because so many companies use tactics like, I call it vanilla terrorism, honestly. Like a very light brand of terrorism to where they control your actions through fear. And that's actually what the definition of terrorism is. And I've already said it like 5 times. I wonder if they're still scanning everything to like, because back in the 9/11 days, everybody was all like, oh, you can't say that on the phone. They'll start listening to your call. I mean, I'm actually okay with a few views and listens to this content. It's on the YouTubes. Anyways, but my point stays the same, is like people use these business tactics to manipulate us and basically social engineer, and they call it marketing, or especially guerrilla marketing, where you're starting to advertise in like new and hip and, trendy ways that are actually more appealing and like cheeky. But I don't know. It's just all these different tricks to try to manipulate the human behavior of consumption. Am I going to want to buy this product? Am I going to want to... And they're going to start coming up here. Oh, now I'm poisoned. You know what? You get that. Wasting my time. You too. Alright. Yeah, you can be a little sick with it, but again, it's all fake. It's not real. And even if it was, would you really advocate for ethical treatment of whatever this thing is? Should hope not. Good lord. But wouldn't put it past someone. Anyways, sorry, that was just more like... And that's also my main objection with... Okay, well, I don't know if I really want to go back into politics and everything here, but it's like manipulating people's decisions. Jeez. Like, is it really a problem to the point where we need to invest money into it, or would certain other problem-solving things fix it? And I don't know. I'll just leave it vague for now, because that is, like, a very controversial thing. It's just like... And I'm still on the fence about a lot of it. Is like... I can see it and it sounds good on paper, but are we really thinking about the whole thing here? And is it ethical through and through? I mean, are we being honest to all parties involved? Any way you want to look at it, are we making the best decision based on the facts? And really, that's how everything should be. But because politics are so driven by money, they have to stretch the truth. Both sides do it too. It's not just one, And it's just gotten to the point where, like, you have to invest hours of your own time to understand what's actually going on, what's actually being debated, and then by the end, most of the time people just give up and like, whatever, I don't care anymore. It's, or I'm just gonna take it at face value and possibly be angry, or, and that's the unintended consequences of money and campaigning. Sorry, I know I already talked about this at length, but that's why it's so important. Is because if we got only truth in politics, only truth, nothing else. And that's why good business is dangerous, because it might be good business on paper and politics, but it could be very bad ethically, could be bad for society, and it could be really making things horribly inefficient and detrimental to our country, detrimental to our species. Like, all of this unnecessary and costly inefficiencies. There you go. Let's say it as many times, in as many ways as I can figure, because that's the other thing to communication. It might sound good one way, it might sound better the other way, it might sound horrible another way, but at the end of the day, are people understanding what you're trying to say? Because that's the other thing. A lot of people get angry for misunderstanding things, and then once they understand it, or at least like have some clarification, then they might be like, oh, that wasn't nearly as bad as I thought, or okay, that's still bad, but maybe not like go grab the pitchforks and start a town mob bad, or a riot, or anything like that. Like, and then you get back into the alcoholism argument, or not even alcoholism, sorry, the alcohol problem. Like, if alcohol wasn't so popular, we wouldn't have like sports riots from people so mad about their sports team either winning or losing. Well, no, they wouldn't be mad at them winning, but, so mad about sports to where they would actually cause physical harm, destruction of property, all of that. And for what? Well, most of the time they're drunk. That's the point. Like they're just out drunk and unruly. And that's not just because, you know, alcohol industries are evil. All the people preventing healthy alternatives to alcohol are also complicit. In a loose way, they also add to the problem of alcohol destruction or alcohol issues. Yes, I'm talking about legal cannabis. I live in a state where a lot of people are choosing cannabis over alcohol. They still choose alcohol a lot. We've got a lot of breweries, a lot of stuff going on here. But, you know, I've just noticed like a general attitude. Like people are just generally happier, it seems like, or more understanding, or like less impatient. I don't know. Something to think about. But again, that's okay. So that's the concept of corner cases and blind spots. Now, I know I talked about scalability and pigeonholing, but corner cases and blind spots are just that. Like when you get into programming and problem solving for programming, you start thinking, oh, well, what am I missing? Because that's what, you know, educators will test. They'll test those corner cases, be like, okay, if it's meant for, say it's a calculator program for positive numbers, does it work with negative numbers? I mean, that wasn't in the user story or the job description, or not the job description, the program assignment description, but they want to see if you'll do that, because when you get into the real world, non-technical people are often horrible at coming up with a good user story or a good description of what they want you to build, and then you build it exactly to their specs, you know, nothing more, nothing less, because that's how we learn computers think, you know, so it kind of translates it over to what we try to provide, and then they'll come back and be like, oh no, I actually wanted to do this as well. And even if they're nice about it, I mean, that's the best case. If they're nice about it and they understand that, like, oh, you're right, I didn't explain this, could you also do this, and here's some more time. But the world doesn't work like that. Often the person's upset, the time's running out, we're already over budget for it, and how could you not know I wanted this? This is so simple, you're fired, or whatever like that, you know, like layoffs, whatever. That's why I believe that's why they've started teaching more business with tech degrees, is so you can actually understand all the other factors, and you're not just like, well, they said to do this, now I'm out of a job because our company went under because you didn't understand that, you know, whatever. Like, mm. And again, these solutions, they're just good for everything. Like, try to fix as many problems as you can the first time,
What is it you desire?
but also not go over budget in time too. And that's the other thing, is like, you don't want to be overly cautious with your code and start coding for everything. Like if they want, I don't know, if they just want something and they're paying for something, don't start thinking like, oh, I'm going to build them the next Facebook or the next Twitter or the next, you know, whatever. It's like, no, maybe they just want this and you should only do this. So it's tricky, and it's a case-by-case basis, I guess I should say. Is one size does not fit all. I don't have the perfect scalable solution to life. If I did, I'd say it's just 42, which is the asterisk, which is everything. Any Douglas Adams fans, there's a little Easter egg that I don't know if it was intentional. I feel like it was, but at the same time, when Douglas Adams came out, it was like a radio show. But I think there had to have been computers, but maybe the knowledge wasn't widespread enough. Maybe 42 was just made the asterisk as a reaction to that. Anyway, it's a nerdy joke amongst the circles I'm involved in, so there it is. And actually now I really do got to go because, yeah, it's getting late, but hope you enjoyed the first installment of Bloodborne Musings. Yeah, I'm going to go back and actually, I think, do a whole playthrough, but just talk computer science, and I'll do it like my Borderlands 3 thing, where today we'll talk about variables and, you know, this and that. And then I might rant and stuff and do some musing-y type things, but we'll see. It'll be fun. But either way, this is all practice to eventually be, I do want to be a professor in computer science. Maybe. I mean, I would also like to play video games and just talk for a while and then still educate computer science, but if I'm going to be lecturing in front of a class, I need to be able to say it over and over and over till I could recite it in my sleep and make it concise, make it good, make it interesting, all that good stuff. Or I could just play video games and do it, and then you'll pick up some of it, you'll watch it again, and that's your homework. Watch me play Borderlands, or you do it, and then you play Borderlands and you explain it. See? Scalable. Or not scalable, also perpetual, or perpetuating. Like, if you teach someone well enough, You inspire them to teach others. Then they go teach, and then they teach, and then the people they taught teach. And that's how pay it forward was really supposed to be. That's why you paid it forward to 2 people, because you got 1, and then you're supposed to pay it forward to 2. So it's supposed to be, well, that's like exponential growth, that whole concept. Or viral. And that's why, social media content creation is so big. But we got to get it to where they're actually saying something instead of this circus of getting likes and subscribes. I don't know. It's not all bad, but it could be better. All right. See y'all next time.